Now, recently on Calling All Devs, they hinted at player habitation, player housing, things like that. A big announcement coming up soon. And I mean, do we really need housing? I mean, let me ask you that question. I mean, most of us have our own ships that are perfectly fine, perfectly safe. We can live on them. We can log in and we can log out on them. We can go around and do things. They're wonderful environments, you know, and we can't wait to customize them. What could be safer than our own ship? Okay, well, maybe someday. Well, maybe these habitation modules aren't such a bad idea after all, for the time being. But player housing is an interesting topic. It's something that other games have tried. Some, it's worked out fairly well for them. Others, it has been slightly disastrous. On the disastrous side, that would be WoW, with the Garrison implementation of Warlords of Draenor. Certainly made the game far more antisocial and was not a good feature. Cool idea, but bad implementation. I really think that the secret is in the implementation of how you do these things. But beyond that, when you look at bigger ships, especially like the Reclaimer, like the Polaris, like even the Hammerhead, you're going to have your own personal quarters on them. And so in the end, doesn't that become your housing to a certain degree, depending on what ship that you fly? I mean, are we talking about a full-on base? Something of that nature? We know that land claims are already being sold, so maybe that's a thing. You know, maybe that's what, you know, CIG intends, is they're going to tell us something about, oh, we can build our own base. Oh, you almost got me there, Chris Roberts.
Nice try, Lao Shay.
You see that? Chris Roberts trying to kill me, my dudes. What's up with that? But anyways, you know, base building and that sort of thing, we know that there's going to be something like that in the game. We already know. Pioneer, land claims, yeah. Those two things put together, they're going to let us build bases. Whether you want to live in one or not, that's up to you. I mean, there's certainly a lot of sandbox games where you can go out and you can build your own base and do any number of things, especially through mods. So there's obviously a big community out there who loves that sort of thing, and I'm sure that there are going to be a lot of features along that end, but I don't think that what they were hinting at is this announcement. I don't think that this is it. I think they are going to go in a different direction. I think that they are going to go in a GTA Online direction for their first implementation. Do you remember this image? Now, this is an image of Lorville. This is in the early stages of development. It's a pretty big city, big, large area. All kinds of different things hopefully going to be going on. An area that is going to be fleshed out over time. Plenty of shit going on in this area. What I think that CIG is going to do, and maybe there's, you know, we're reaching really far for this one, but maybe it's a, you know, it's a potential way for them to bleed a little UEC out of the community. Certainly some people have seen how UEC and Alpha UEC have changed recently, and how you can purchase more UEC, or tons of people had a bunch of UEC on their accounts and are starting off in some cases with exorbitant sums of cash. I think that what CIG is going to do initially is they're going to take the GTA Online route, and they are going to let us purchase landing sites in Lorville or rent them. Probably I would lean more towards purchase. The same way you would purchase a house in GTA Online that has a garage or an apartment building or a warehouse and park all your cars there, something of that nature. I think that's the direction that they're going to go in for the first implementation. Player basing and construction, obviously something that's down the road, but I think the prerequisite for that is a fully functional Pioneer, and we're nowhere near that, so that is something that's off in the distance. I think land claims in the beginning are going to be more used towards mining than anything else. So I think that this is what CIG is. This is what they've got up their sleeve, is they're going to let us purchase our own little landing area and hangar on, Lorville or Hurston, however those two work out. I think Lorville is on Hurston. So I think that that's kind of what they're going for, is they're going to scatter the city with a whole bunch of different large-sized landing pads, and players can choose different places. Now, players can base out of common areas much the same way they can in GTA Online, but I think they're going to make it so that it's so spread apart that you're not really going to run into each other too many times. And obviously, having a common landing and takeoff area like Olisar is kind of a travesty, and it leads to certain forms of abuse, obviously. So I think that this is what CIG has got up their sleeve. If you think about it, a city in an area this large can certainly accommodate a wide variety of landing pads. Certainly. I mean, look at it. And Olisar's biggest problem is that taking off and landing from Olisar is usually dependent on traffic. Certainly, the bigger ship you have, the worse it gets. I did an episode just recently where I was like, if you're hoping to pull out your hammerhead, chances are you're going to hear, sorry, all the landing pads are full. This allows you to kind of work around that problem. Something like this. It also eliminates problems where players are sneaking onto other player ships. It doesn't totally eliminate it, because obviously if there's a will in gaming, there is a way. There is a way that you can break the system and abuse another player if you are so motivated. But it limits the possibilities, and I think that that's the direction that they're going to go, and it's a direction that I'm excited to see. I really and honestly am, because I wouldn't mind, finally putting the hangar and the landing area and all these things together. I would really love for us to get to a point. I mean, we've had these hangars for years and years and years and years. Even before we had an arena commander, we had the hangar module way back in the day. Many of you guys remember that. And so moving this into an area where these things are kind of united, and maybe, I don't know, maybe relative to the ship that you own. Once again, how we were unlocking various hangars through the ships that we purchased. This one comes with AeroView. This one comes with the cave one, that sort of thing. Or this one comes with the fancy Apple Store hangar. Being able to use a city like this allows, and using a system like that, you can kind of unite those two systems, bring them together, and finally give the hangar some real meaning in the Star Citizen universe, which is, I think, if this is what they're going for, if this is what they're announcing, top marks. I hope that it is something that we inherently inherit. I realize that there's obviously going to be a drive to kind of use a feature like this to kind of bleed some money out of the community. And I don't mean that in a nefarious way, like, oh, give us $50 extra or something like that. But I think it's going to be a way to kind of drain the UEC out of the economy. It could be seen as a cash sink in that way. I hope it's not going to be that. I hope it is, in fact, going to be... it's going to be something that we've already inherited through the ships that we've bought. And the more extensive our collection, the more extensive the facilities that we have access to. And maybe it's just going to be the Apple Store framing or the AeroView framing, that sort of thing. But in general, it's going to kind of adapt to the size of ship that we have. I think that certainly ship maintenance fees and resource costs and all of that are going to be more than enough as a tool to kind of drain excess cash out of the in-game economy. But if this is what I think it is, if this is what they're going for, I think it's awesome. And I can't wait to see it. Certainly a city like Lorville. I mean, all we really got is a still photo, but imagine it. Remember, it's a dynamic environment on a planet, so that planet is rotating. So there's going to be sunrises, sunsets, night, day, all these sort of different conditions. I mean, this has got a very Blade Runner-esque look to it, and I am so excited to see what they do with the city. I really, really am. And if they're doing what I think they're doing, even more so. I can't wait to see something like this, if this is what they're going for. Fingers crossed that I'm right, because I really, really hope that I do, and it's something I'll definitely be very excited to see. Anyways, that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.